During a recent visit to the vibrant stretch of Leicester known as the Golden Mile, the Princess of Wales, Catherine, Princess of Wales, joined members of the local community to take part in Holi celebrations at the Shreeji Dham Haveli Hindu temple. The visit was presented in glowing terms by many British outlets. Cameras captured the princess smiling as she watched colourful Bollywood dance performances, greeting community leaders, receiving a flower garland and sampling traditional snacks while sipping chai. The atmosphere appeared festive, and the crowd that gathered along the route seemed enthusiastic. On the surface, the coverage looked like another carefully curated moment in the public life of the future Queen Consort, and the press seemed eager to frame it that way. Yet, beneath the carefully polished headlines, the visit quickly became something else entirely once photographers began circulating close-up images taken inside the temple. As part of the temple's customs, the princess removed her shoes before entering the sacred space. That is a common and respectful practice across many Hindu temples around the world. However, when images surfaced showing her walking barefoot across a red carpet inside the temple, the internet did what it often does best. It zoomed in. The photographs showed unpainted toenails, dry skin, and ridges across the tops of her feet. Under normal circumstances, such details might pass without comment. After all, everyone's feet look like feet. But in the hyper-scrutinized world of royal media coverage, where every wrinkle, gesture and wardrobe choice becomes a topic of analysis, such images rarely escape attention. What made this moment remarkable was not that the images existed. It was how the media chose to react to them. In fact, what stood out most was the remarkable restraint shown by many mainstream outlets. Rather than dissecting the close-up images or turning them into sensational headlines, much of the press coverage focused almost entirely on the cultural engagement itself. Articles praised the princess for embracing the traditions of the local Hindu community, applauding her willingness to remove her shoes and participate respectfully in the temple environment. The tone was overwhelmingly positive, almost protective. And that is precisely where critics say the story becomes revealing. Because royal watchers with long memories immediately recalled how similar moments were handled in the past, particularly when another royal figure was involved, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. Years ago, when Meghan appeared barefoot during cultural ceremonies while travelling with her husband, Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, the media response looked dramatically different. Instead of restraint, many tabloids turned the images into a full-blown spectacle. Close-up photographs of Meghan's feet were circulated widely, accompanied by speculative commentary about bunions, scars, and even rumours about possible surgeries. Articles dissected every perceived imperfection. Headlines implied medical issues. Social media commentary piled on relentlessly. What could have been a routine cultural moment, removing shoes as a sign of respect in a sacred space, became a bizarre media fixation that stretched across multiple news cycles. The contrast between those earlier stories and the recent coverage surrounding Catherine's temple visit has reignited a familiar debate about the way certain royal figures are treated in the media. Supporters of Meghan argue that the difference is not subtle, it is glaring. For them, the story is not about feet at all. It is about the machinery of royal commentary and how selectively it operates. Observers point out that the same newspapers that once published page-long dissections of Meghan's feet suddenly rediscovered their sense of restraint when Catherine appeared in a similar situation. The tone changed, the curiosity disappeared, the microscope was quietly put away, and that shift has prompted uncomfortable questions. Why was Meghan's body treated as a subject for endless scrutiny while Catherine's received protective silence? Why did tabloids once feel comfortable speculating about cosmetic surgery and physical imperfections, but now seem reluctant to even mention what their own cameras captured? Critics argue that the answer lies in the deeply entrenched dynamics of royal media coverage, where certain figures are shielded while others are relentlessly targeted. In the case of Catherine and her husband, Prince William, Prince of Wales, the British press has long maintained a relationship that critics describe as unusually gentle. Over the years, the couple have cultivated a public image built on stability, tradition, and loyalty to the monarchy. That image has been reinforced by coverage that frequently frames them as the dependable future of the institution. Negative narratives rarely gain traction unless they become impossible to ignore. Minor mishaps are quickly reframed as charming human moments. Wardrobe malfunctions become relatable anecdotes. Awkward interactions are interpreted as humility. In other words, the coverage tends to bend toward generosity. By contrast, critics argue that Meghan's experience demonstrated the opposite dynamic. When she entered the royal family, she quickly became the subject of an intense level of scrutiny that often crossed the line from critique into outright hostility. Stories about avocado consumption, baby bumps, family relationships, and body language flooded the tabloids. Even routine moments were treated as suspicious or controversial. That pattern created a situation where nearly anything Meghan did could be turned into a negative headline. The barefoot ceremony incident was a textbook example. A cultural norm was transformed into an opportunity for body shaming and speculation. Instead of focusing on the significance of the ceremony itself, many outlets zeroed in on her feet as if they were evidence of some hidden scandal. Looking back now, the tone of those stories appears particularly jarring when compared to the silence surrounding Catherine's temple photographs. Because, make no mistake, the images exist. Photographers captured them. They circulated widely online. Social media users noticed the details immediately. Yet the mainstream media, which once thrived on similar material, largely chose not to amplify it. For critics, that decision reveals the underlying mechanics of royal coverage. It suggests that the tabloid machine does not simply react to events. It chooses when to react and when to look away. In that sense, Catherine's temple visit unintentionally became a case study in selective scrutiny. The princess herself appeared comfortable throughout the event. She smiled as performers danced. She chatted with temple leaders and accepted a garland of flowers. When she removed her shoes to enter the temple, she followed the same respectful protocol observed by countless visitors before her. None of that was controversial. But the media's reaction, or lack thereof, sparked a conversation that continues to ripple across royal commentary spaces online. Supporters of Catherine argue that criticising someone's feet is trivial and unnecessary regardless of who the person is. They say the decision by outlets to focus on the cultural engagement rather than the close-ups represents progress. In their view, the media is finally moving away from petty body shaming. Critics, however, are not convinced. They point out that the media had every opportunity to adopt that restraint years earlier when Meghan faced the same circumstances. Instead, tabloids embraced the sensationalism. So when the same publications suddenly claim the moral high ground, many observers see it less as progress and more as selective amnesia. And that perception inevitably circles back to William and Catherine themselves. While the couple rarely comment directly on media narratives, their relationship with the British press has long been shaped by a quiet understanding. Favourable coverage helps maintain the stability of the monarchy's public image. Critics argue that this arrangement creates a double standard where certain royals benefit from protective storytelling, while others become convenient targets. The temple visit illustrates how easily that dynamic can be spotted when similar situations are treated differently. If Meghan's feat were once considered legitimate news, then logically Catherine's should have been as well. The decision to treat one moment as a scandal and the other as a cultural celebration exposes the inconsistency. For those who support Harry and Meghan, the contrast reinforces a narrative they have described many times, that the media ecosystem surrounding the royal family operates with clear favourites. And in that ecosystem, William and Catherine often appear to receive the gentlest possible treatment. The Holi celebration in Leicester was meant to highlight cultural diversity and community connection. In many ways, it succeeded in doing that. The temple welcomed the princess warmly, and the images of colourful performances and smiling faces captured the spirit of the festival. But the aftermath of the visit revealed something else entirely. It exposed how the royal commentary machine can choose when to amplify details and when to ignore them. When Meghan walked barefoot during ceremonies, the microscope came out instantly. Every angle was analysed. Every imperfection became a headline. When Catherine did the same thing, the microscope quietly disappeared. And that difference, more than any photograph, is what continues to fuel debate among royal observers today. Because in the end, the story is not really about Catherine's feet or Meghan's feet. It is about the rules that determine whose feet become news in the first place. Those rules, critics argue, have rarely been applied equally. And as long as that imbalance remains visible, moments like the temple visit will continue to spark uncomfortable conversations about the roles played by William, Catherine, and the media system that surrounds them.